Newcastle United may have just completed two super smart signings in Lloyd, Kelly and Tosin Adarabioyo on a free. Two homegrown players, 25, 26, very good Premier League proven players on a free. Lloyd Kelly's essentially done pending announcement, and Tosin is expected to be done. There is rumours of Manchester United hijacking that deal, and as a Manchester United fan, I do hope we hijack that deal because he's such a good player, Tosin. He's someone I want at United. When you think he can be available on a free, when both Manchester United and Newcastle need two centre-backs, and if you can get one of them on a free that is Premier League proven, that's homegrown, that is good, that's just brilliant. But I think he is going to Newcastle as much as I'd love to see him at United. This was obviously the story that came out yesterday. This was Fabrizio Romano saying that Eddie Howe has approved both signings. Kelly's expected to join, and talks for Tosin are going well. That was said a day ago from Fabrizio Romano, so we knew that there was going to be some kind of news around Tosin and Lloyd Kelly to Newcastle. And what I'm going to do in today's video is I'm going to talk about why they're both smart signings. I'm going to talk about Lloyd Kelly first because we've already done a video on Tosin. Then I'm going to talk about Tosin in particular because he's the better of the two, and he's the one I know a lot more about because I've done research on him because of his links to United on my main channel. If you follow my main channel, you'll know that I've spoken about Tosin a lot. But I want to quickly give you context of the news before we talk about why this is really, really clever for Newcastle. They're free signings. Why this is clever, what this could mean going forward, is that Newcastle have reached an agreement for Lloyd Kelly, and he will complete his free transfer in the coming days. A deal is now in place. Official announcement. Mail are claiming that the deal is done. Keith Downey, who's quite good when it comes to Newcastle news, is saying that they're trying to get the deal basically done quickly, that Kelly's very keen, and the Tosin deal has agreement in principle, but a few details are being done. I expect both deals to be done unless Manchester United come in with a last-minute hijack for Tosin, but I think he wants guaranteed game time, and while he definitely would start at Manchester United right now because we've lost Varane and Lindelof's not very good, and our centre-backs are injured. I know that Manchester United are thinking of going big for Branthwaite, so potentially he ends up at Newcastle. I think Kelly is done. I think Tosin will be done, but I do hope as a Manchester United fan he ends up in a red shirt and not a black and white one. So I want to now talk about why these are clever deals, and especially because now essentially Newcastle have probably got two centre-back signings on the free who tick the homegrown box, who are Premier League proven. One of them in Tosin I think is really, really good. One of them in Lloyd Kelly I think is a very good squad player and also is a bit of an upgrade on Dan Burn. It's two smart signings on a free, which essentially give you the funds to go and get a big right winger, whether it be a Jared Bowen or Elise that you've been linked with, whether it's a DM, because if someone's going to leave between Bruno and Isak, it would be Bruno because he's got the release clause. But even get a DM and push Bruno further up, because I think actually, potentially that could be something there. But what do you get in Lloyd Kelly? Well, first of all, he's 25 years of age. He's a Premier League proven centre-back. He ticks the homegrown quota, which is important. You're getting him on a free. He's left-footed and can play left-back. For me, he's a Dan Burn upgrade. He's physically able to do what Dan Burn does. Very good in the air. Very good aerially. Very physically good. But he's a little bit better technically than Dan Burn. So when it comes to playing out from the back, that would help. Obviously, you have Fabian Schär that's brilliant at playing out from the back. But if you can have another centre-back to take that reliance off Schär, that would be good. And the fact that you're getting a guy on a free that can play left-back, can play centre-back, Eddie Howe sometimes likes Dan Burn to tuck in as a third centre-back. Lloyd Kelly is essentially a younger and a little bit more technical version of Dan Burn. I think with Sven Botman out, he can fill in the Botman role until Botman comes back. And when Botman comes back, he can be that left back, maybe in that Dan Burn role. Obviously, Lewis Hall's coming through and he's doing really well. And I wouldn't drop Lewis Hall, but he's such a young kid. You still want to mould him in and stuff as well. And you could have that option there at left back. So then all of a sudden, you've sort of got a centre back, and a centre back can play left back. And Newcastle have almost covered the depth of their defence very, very well. And we know that he's good in the Premier League. And interestingly, I was doing a little bit of research. I was speaking to some Bournemouth people on Lloyd Kelly because I'm not as familiar on him as I am with Tosin. And every Bournemouth fan I spoke to only had good things to say about him. They were saying they're upset he's leaving. He's a true leader. He's got a great mentality. He gives everything. They say he's one of those guys that when he goes on the pitch, he gives everything. And I think that's what you want. Sometimes you sign players and they come for the money or the wrong reasons. He's a guy that is heart and soul is in it. He plays his heart out. And I think obviously Newcastle have done that in the past. They've made sure when they've signed players to check what they're like. Like Anthony Gordon, I saw a clip on Twitter. They were doing like a personality or background check into Gordon and what people had said about him. And people only said good things about Gordon and how hard he works. I think Anthony Gordon is one of the hardest working players in the Premier League. Deserves the England call up. He's really stepped up this season. He gives 100%, and Newcastle did a lot of research into the personality, mentality side of Gordon, and with Lloyd Kelly, you've got that as well. And obviously he's previously worked with Eddie Howe, so Eddie Howe will know that. He's a bit quicker than Burn. He's good on the. He's better than Burn on the ball. He's faster than Burn, and he's decent physically and aerially. Statistically, he's good physically and aerially, but he also on the eye test is good physically and aerially. I think because he's got a bit better pace than Burn, because he can play out from the back a little bit better, that can give Newcastle a little bit more scope there. And of course, it just, the most important thing for Newcastle is you needed two defenders. You arguably need a DM and you need a right winger, potentially even a second striker with Callum Wilson set to go. So if you get two centre-backs on a free, which also tick the homegrown quota, that really helps you with your sort of FFP scenario we're in. So that's about Lloyd Kelly. And I want to talk about Tosin. Now, this was included in my last video on Tosin, but I just wanted to give people a recap if they didn't watch my last video on Tosin. 26, entering his prime. I'd say he was a bit of a late bloomer. You know how like Aubameyang was a bit of a late bloomer, Vardy was a bit of a late bloomer. He was a Man City Academy product, was always very good, highly regarded. He's a bit of a late bloomer, but been very good for Fulham these last 2 seasons. Consistent is the way I'd say him. Consistently good for Fulham. Like, he's consistently good. Now, what you've got with Tosin, and for me, is the standout, is he's very good physically and athletically. He's strong, he's fast, he's tall, he's hard to beat 1v1, he's hard to beat in the air. He reads the game so intelligently, he can push people off the ball with ease, and he's clever. He's clever, his football IQ, his tactical awareness, his ability to read the game is good. Off the ball, he's difficult to beat. He's strong, he's fast, he's quick, he can cover ground, and he reads the game very well. His anticipation is good. He's got the right level of aggression. But on top of that, he's good on the ball. Fabian Schär, I think, is one of the best ball-playing centre-backs in the Premier League. I think his ability on the ball is brilliant, but he is ageing. And with Tosin, you've got someone who is nearly as good as Fabian Schär on the ball, on that kind of level, that can eventually push Schär out as he's ageing, give him some real competition, provide depth to the Newcastle backline. He's very good, very, very comfortable playing out from the back. Spent 17 years in the Manchester City Academy, which is obviously very good at the moment, which I hate to admit. And one thing that I noticed about him is his line-breaking passes. His aggression in his passing. This is a pass here. He gets the ball and he can just break 2 lines there, playing it in. Here's another example. It didn't even fit in the screen, but there's Tosin on the halfway line, and he practically plays this guy through on goal. His passing and ability to break lines as a defender is very, very good. And I think very good signing for Newcastle this would be. Which brings me into a little bit of further analysis about Tosin here. So this was obviously included in my last video. 92nd percentile for aerial win rate. I mean, 6'5", what a monster. And when you're 6'5" and you've got those long legs, it just means like on the ground, his strides are big and he can cover ground easier and he can get his foot in the way easier. Like, his frame allows him to excel both aerially and on the ground in terms of winning his duels on the ground. He's a very good duel winner. But also, it's good to have a player that's good off the ball, that can win stuff in the air, win stuff on the floor, but also when he's a player that can, progress players. I showed you very good progressive passing, 84% of the progressive passes, 85% of the progressive parries in a Fulham side that don't have as much possession as other sides, so it could be higher in the Newcastle side. It says a lot. And I think Newcastle this season actually have the same amount of goals as Liverpool, but defensively has let them down, whereas last season they were so good defensively, but they weren't as good going forward unless towards the end. Whereas this season, I think Newcastle's sort of defence and midfield needs to be fixed. I'm going to say the midfield needs to be fixed. I think it was just the injuries to the defence and midfield that's hit them. Newcastle have been brilliant at attack, and that's probably where they've had the least injuries. Although I say that, they still had injuries. Barnes has been out most of the season. Isak's been injured. Murphy's been injured. But Newcastle have been immense in attack. They just needed to get that stability in defence, and I think you get that with Tosin as well. And I think one thing that stands out, and I don't think anyone's mentioned this, I was seeing what other people were mentioning, is he's a good wide channel defender. He's able to deal with strikers that run the channel. He's able to defend those wide spaces, which I think in the modern day of football, having a player that's comfortable defending large spaces and wide spaces with the way that the Premier League is going and the way that football is modernising is really important. Obviously, this is from the last video again, where I compared him to Schär. Obviously, you can see him and Schär very similar when it comes to ball carrying and passing statistics. He's actually better. Schär beats him just for progressive passes, but Newcastle do have more possession than Fulham. As you can see, he's got very good similarities to Schär. Schär is 32. He is 26. He's better in the air than Schär, and eventually he may push Schär out. And I actually compared him, if I can find it, to Antonio Silva, but I added the wrong slide, so I do apologise for that. But as I said, underrated passes, can play the ball out of the back and into feet of someone like Gordon. I don't know why it says feet of the 18s. I mean the 8s or someone like Gordon. As I showed you back here, you can play the ball out into the feet. You can play the ball into the feet of whoever's playing number 8, whoever's playing Gordon. Like, he's very good at being able to play the ball into the feet of who would be the Newcastle attackers. Again, press resistant, comfortable on the ball. Seems like the press high in the Premier League, you need players that are good and comfortable on the ball, and you got that in Tosin. He's very good. He's very comfortable on the ball. He's not going to, oh no, they're pressing me, let me boot it long and give the ball away. He's very good at keeping the ball. It's a Man City Academy product. Of course he's going to be technical. Of course he's going to be comfortable. That's the whole point of it. But one thing I just noticed is that Newcastle are basically getting Tosin and Kelly done, wrapped up end of May, 2 deals done quick. I think this is super smart business because you've got someone that is faster, younger, and more powerful than Shah in the air, but good like Shah on the ball. You've basically got your Dan Burn replacement, a younger version of Dan Burn, who can play left back and play centre back. The only worry with Lloyd Kelly is injuries, which is something that Newcastle love at the moment, getting injured. But I think it's 2 really good deals because now Newcastle have basically got 2 deals wrapped up in a free before the end of May. I would say touch wood, but I want Tosin to be at Manchester United. So one, I think, is done. The other one is probably done. And then now you can focus on your DM, your right wing, your striker, whatever you're going to look at next. And here was a good comparison from Stats Bomb. As you can see, Tosin's just a little bit better in the air than Shah. Shah obviously does play for a more possession-based side, but you can see that Tosin is still very, very good on the ball, like Shah as well. And I think Shah has been Newcastle's best centre-back this season when played. It might even be Shah and Tosin playing next to each other because he is quite two-footed. So why do I think this is smart business? Why do I think this is genius deals from Newcastle? As I said, well, Lascelles and Botman have got big injuries. Burn is ageing. Shah is ageing. I think Burn hasn't been great this season. Shah, I do think, is a really good player. You've got 2 younger players coming in, for, Premier League proven, homegrown quota, good age, can push through, good competition. I think Kelly will be a squad player. Tosin could be a starter. Bosch filled in those roles. Now you've got funds to go, oh, can I trigger Elise 60 million release clause? Reportedly, Elise hopefully will be coming to Manchester United, although I don't know. So hopefully Elise does end up at Manchester United, but I know Newcastle win for him. Jarrod Bowen you've been linked to. You've also been linked to Calvert-Lewin, which I know you're losing Callum Wilson, and Calvert-Lewin is better than he's done at Everton this season, but I personally don't rate Calvert-Lewin that much. And then maybe a midfielder like Edison of Atalanta. Watched that Europa League final last night. Wifa and Nana potentially there linked as well. So all of a sudden, Newcastle maybe have, 110 million to spend on a top right winger and a top midfielder. Because they've got 2 centre-backs on the free. They'll sell Callum Wilson. I'm assuming Almiron goes, maybe Murphy goes. Reportedly, they're open to offers for Longstaff. So it'll be interesting to see what Newcastle do this summer. But, they've got this. They're quite smart with their transfer business. I do think, although we've not seen much of Lewis Hall, he's a very smart deal. Livramento, I think, will be one of Newcastle's best signings. Very clever player, Livramento. Harvey Elliott is not Harvey Elliott. Am I talking about Liverpool here? Harvey Barnes is obviously a good player, output monster. And I think all the top teams have someone on the bench that can come off like Jota, who can score. And I think Harvey Barnes is that player that come off the bench. And I think Tonali will be a good signing when he's back as well. But let me know your thoughts down below, Newcastle fans. How are you feeling about this deal? Do you think you're going to get Tosin over the line as well as Kelly? As much as I want to see Tosin in a Man United shirt, and there are rumours, maybe I think Tosin's agent's putting out rumours that he might be going to United to hurry up the Newcastle deal. I assume Tosin will be in a Newcastle shirt. Hopefully, we'll hijack that. Thank you for watching. Bye.